The main character Aang, who has been reborn with no memory of his past life, discovers a group of skybenders, who control air. As he regains his memories and bending abilities, he must stop a vengeful spirit from causing destruction through the winds. Can Aang learn to bend the sky and restore balance before the world is destroyed by a storm? This narrative is about a planet where there are 4 nations, with their own unique superpowers. One of them is an airbender, which has the capacity to control the air. The second is firebenders, who can control fire anywhere. Then there are waterbenders who can control the water. Finally, earthbenders possess the ability to control the earth and its soil. All of these individuals may not fight using their powers. A battle may not have begun on this planet. For them, they must have an avatar, which is a person who has the capacity to control air, water, fire, and all the elements. It is known that the firebenders are determined to dominate the planet. That is why they are killing all the other benders. Avatar Aang, who is now an airbender, will end this conflict. His instructor prepares him for airbending, but Aang doesn't know the truth about his avatar. That's why other airbenders are unhappy with Aang's master, and think Aang should start his avatar training, since firebenders are now seeking to penetrate their area and kill them. The master also informs Aang of the truth about his avatar at the right moment and adds that you have to complete your training quickly and halt this atrocity by firebenders. Aang, who was just 12 years old, couldn't grasp all of this. He was terrified of the responsibility and informed his master that he didn't want to be an avatar. In the midst of turmoil and tragedy, Aang seeks solace in the companionship of his loyal pet as they soar through the skies. However, a devastating fire attack leaves destruction in its wake, wiping out the peaceful temple of the airbenders and claiming the life of Aang's revered master. Only Aang emerges from the carnage, drifting towards the city where he encounters a fierce storm that threatens to consume him. As he teeters on the brink of oblivion, a sudden awakening of his avatar powers manifests through a radiant light emanating from his forehead tattoo. Fast forward a century, and the dormant power within Aang is reignited with a spectacular display of nature's fury in the snowy mountains, marking the emergence of the waterbender's domain. There was a girl named Katara who could control water. She was practicing her waterbending with her brother. Suddenly, they saw something scary, and both of them got scared. They found a boy named Aang and brought him to their special place called a temple. Aang had a special power toothache that could control the air. But there was a prince named Zuko who was looking for Aang because he wanted to capture him. Aang woke up in the temple and told the people there about a big fire that happened in his home. He had gone on a trip and got caught in a big storm. An old lady there told him that the fire happened a long time ago, like 100 years ago. In that fire, all the people who could control the air, including Aang's friends, were killed. Many people who could control water were also killed in that war. Katara is the only current waterbender remaining in the tribe. After chatting with Aang a bit longer, the elderly lady discovers that Aang is an avatar and the last waterbender left on this planet. Aang also summoned his pet here. He remains here for a few days, and becomes excellent friends with Katara waterbender. The one who hadn't yet learned to regulate her abilities, Aang, while managing her soul and emotions, teaches her the technique of concentration, with the aid of which she is now able to do well at waterbending. On the opposite side, the Prince of Waterbenders, Zuko, comes with his uncle to the village of waterbenders to apprehend Avatar Aang. When he requests that the people hand Aang to him in order to save him, Katara's brother dares Zuko to battle. Zuko was a professional firebender, yet in front of him was an ordinary guy whom he had easily lost. Before he kills the child in front of him to finish the battle, Aang appears in front of him and follows them. Aang was imprisoned on the ship. Aang now, utilizing his airbending powers, easily obtains the keys to his jail and deceives the troops inside. He gets out of prison and visits Zuko's ship. He receives the Book of Zuko inscribed on Avatar. As soon as he takes off and flees from the ship, he comes into the gaze of Zuko. Zuko used fire to strike Aang. While rescuing him before he fell into the ocean, Katara and her brother rushed for his pet there to save Aang. These individuals proceeded to the Temple of the Airbenders, where everything was destroyed. When Aang finds his master's bones, he is in a poor state because of grief and rage. In this situation, all the power of the Avatar awakens once more. He was sobbing a lot while trying to regulate his heart, which he was struggling to do. Katara encourages him right now. Aang claims that my planet died 100 years ago due to my actions, but I will not make the same mistake again. I will now complete the training of the Avatar. Prince Zuko's book is written about the Avatar that he took from the ship, and he finds out that to start the training of the Avatar, he has to awaken all the powers of the past Avatars. So, they initially went to the Temple of the Quasi-Avatar, which was near an island, but when they got there, the inhabitants of the island were going to assault and grab them. Suddenly, a light beam hit Aang from the Quasi-statue. The inhabitants of the island are shocked and bring them before their leader, who informs Aang and Tang's friends that they do not have any bending powers. Consequently, they are unable to save themselves. That's why they don't allow strangers to visit their island. Aang states that he only wants to know about the quasi-avatar and wants to awaken their abilities. Because I'm also an avatar. After hearing this, they agreed to help him. At night, Zuko follows them and informs the residents of the island that they have come to apprehend a criminal. The next day, Aang returns to Quasi's monument. This time, as the light falls on him from the statue, he immediately reaches the realm of souls and meets the quasi-avatar, who informs him that the world has come to this state because he did not get avatar training. Even today, if you do not practice, the space for the waterbenders will be destroyed. Quasi shared its views with Aang as well. She adds that you have to practice alone, leaving everyone's assistance. Because the people around us are vulnerable. The avatar cannot be weak. After a period, Quasi uses her avatar talents to take Tang's body and return to the human world to aid others. She learned that her people were in jeopardy and that the firebenders had attacked them. Earlier, Katara was battling Zuko and planned to beat him up. Because she was not trained, she couldn't do it. In a short while, Quasi employs the bending powers of the four elements and sends all the firebender warriors away. Everyone got terrified and fled away. After that, Quasi departs Tang's body, and Aang returns to his original condition. The people thank Aang since they witnessed him battling their attackers. After that, Aang heads to the region of the waterbenders with his comrades. Quasi tells him that the area of the waterbenders is about to be attacked, so he learns waterbending and decides to save the place. At the moment following Quasi's loss on the island, Zuko sees soldiers, who are apologizing for not backing him. This guy adds to Zuko that if you had notified us about the meeting with the Avatar, we would have backed you. Zuko responds to this man by saying, "You know this, but don't tell anybody." However, he told Zuko's father, the king of the firebenders. As he gets this news and informs his daughter that Zuko is growing capable, he discovers the Avatar. After hearing this, Zuko's sister should have been thrilled, but she wasn't since she wanted to become the queen of the firebenders. One of the strategies was to become more capable than Zuko. While flying towards the location of the waterbenders, Aang discovers an airbender like himself, who was flying in the air. Aang immediately follows him and comes to a city where all the earthbenders lived, who could control the earth stones and soil. Aang gets a little sad after seeing that the child he saw flying was not an airbender, but a scientist's son and was flying with the help of a gadget, given to him by his father. These people also encounter a scientist, who informs them that the firebenders frequently cause explosions. To preserve them, he has invented several inventions. He also produced several weapons for the king. The scientist's son eloquently implores Aang, the skilled airbender, to lend his assistance. Meanwhile, word spreads among the firebenders of a mysterious flying boy, sparking intrigue. In another area, a young boy displaying airbending abilities catches the attention of the Fire Nation's Prince Zuko, prompting a journey to the city of earthbenders. In the midst of this turmoil, Katara uncovers a plot involving a spy for the firebenders and finds herself in a perilous situation. With quick thinking and the aid of her friend, she emerges victorious against the attackers. Simultaneously, her brother and a scientist collaborate on designing a revolutionary air balloon. As Aang navigates through various cities, he uncovers the firebenders' deceptive tactics of using a potent chemical to fuel their fiery assaults. And definitely, someone in their city aids the firebenders. The kid Aang, who was included in this attack, discloses his name, and Katara recognizes him. She vanquished the firebenders alongside him. She finds the boy a wonderful guy, but when she walks out and chats with the kid again, he tells her his plan for how they would take the scientist's material to the king, and make it into a bomb, causing the king's death. Katara cannot believe what she is hearing, so the boy she trusted could be so nasty. She is currently going with Aang to save the king. Where do Aang and Zuko meet? These individuals came to the city while battling. When Zuko strikes Aang with his fire, the city catches fire, which Aang was trying to extinguish with his airbending talents. When the earthbenders learn about the firebenders coming, their troops arrive to catch the firebender, and then Zuko's uncle exhibits his firebending talents to all the soldiers, so that all of their focus does not go to the prince. As a consequence, the uncle and Aang were both captured at the time when the firebender's companion, who was going to murder the king, was going to assault him with a fire arrow on a box carrying a bomb. Katara saves the prince by extinguishing the arrow with her waterbending powers. Here, Katara's brother asks the scientist why they are doing something against the king. To which he responds, "I am obligated to do this. The firebenders have threatened my son's life." Katara advises Aang to leave all this. "We have to travel to the palace to save Aang," and the scientist tells them about the hidden road that goes to jail. The scene is cut, and we're shown a previous scene. 100 years ago, when Aang was little, he had a very dear buddy who was an earthbender. The greatest part was that the king of the earthbenders was Aang's 100-year-old boyhood pal, who had now grown elderly. But he recognizes Aang from a glimpse. Here, Katara and her brother are headed to prison after a secret passage to save Aang. A mysterious tunnel gets in their way. Outside, they encountered a guy who told them that they might traverse this route with their love. However, these two siblings, who did not trust each other, became trapped in this tunnel. When they proceed forward with much effort, they confront a monster. They hold hands in horror. As they do so, the creature becomes silent. Katara learns that it is due to their love as she begs her way out of the monster. The monster destroys the wall and makes away. And now we're shown Aang, who confronted the monarch of the earthbenders. The monarch was extremely furious since their planet had been destroyed by Aang 100 years ago. To exact retribution, he assaults Aang with all of his earthbending abilities. He could hardly rescue himself. On which the king informs him in wrath that he still thinks like a child and not like an avatar. And you do crazy things with kids, but Aang says that I am not thinking of anything inappropriate this time. I'll defend this world from destruction at any cost this time, and I'll need you for it. When the king hears this, he leaves him gladly. It is demonstrated that Zuko's uncle is being brought to the new jail from the wilderness. On the way, Zuko assaults the earthbender soldiers and gets his uncle released. We see a sight from the past, which we discover about Zuko and his uncle's connection. Zuko treated him as if he were his own son. Zuko was chastised by his father's side for not visiting their region until they found Avatar. The uncle decided to come with him, and they were united. They killed all the troops with their fire-bending talents. On the opposite side, we see that Aang and Katara have gone for the waterbenders. Aang informs Katara that she has learned waterbending really well. Katara responds that, with the aid of my grandfather's book, I was strengthening my waterbending talents. On the way, during their chats, they spot flames in the forest. When they went down and inspected, there was a little town. A guy informs Aang that there were some monsters here who used to make humanity disappear. Then the firebenders attacked here and destroyed our region. Aang was also experiencing the energies of another dimension. The scene transitions to Zuko's sister in the bustling city of firebenders, earnestly pleading with her father to utilize the army general's assistance in locating the elusive avatar. Her father acquiesces, agreeing that whoever successfully brings the avatar to their kingdom first will be crowned king, whether it be her or Zuko. However, he cautions that Zuko is making swift progress. The girl becomes furious at this revelation. Meanwhile, in a desolate town, Aang uses his avatar talents to transport himself and his teammates to a strange universe, where they are met by a terrifying monster. As they struggle against the creature's attacks, Katara's brother encounters a wise fox who imparts crucial information to him. The creature you witnessed is in immense agony. By alleviating its suffering, all your troubles will be resolved. This poignant scene depicts Katara encountering her deceased mother in a vision. As she tries to reconnect with her mother, she is assaulted by firebenders. In a heartbreaking turn of events, Katara's mother sacrifices herself to protect her daughter. This traumatic experience from her past had left Katara feeling adrift. Just as she begins to lose herself in despair, a new adversary emerges and takes her captive. Meanwhile, Katara's brother grapples with feelings of inadequacy, as he overhears his father and uncle doubting his abilities. These hurtful words weighed heavily on him, causing him to feel lost in his own thoughts. Suddenly, the abhorrent creature responsible for imprisoning Katara also ensnares her brother. Aang also finds himself confronted with the illusions of his airbender temple in this realm. However, he swiftly discerns the falsehoods and resolves that this cannot be tolerated. With unwavering determination, he focuses his attention on unveiling the truth. To his astonishment, he discovers a malevolent monster who taunts him for daring to stand before it after countless years. The creature boasts of its past encounters with avatars, but Aang, undeterred, declares that he has come here solely to rescue his friends. This declaration ignites a fierce battle between them, yet Aang, in his ethereal form, is disabled from harnessing his extraordinary powers. After escaping from the clutches of a terrifying monster, the protagonist finds himself in a serene house, where he reunites with his wise mentor. Embracing him with gratitude, he expresses his urgent need for guidance. The mentor reveals that the monster traps individuals with their memories, but avatars are immune to this manipulation. Recounting a past victory of a Fire Nation avatar against the monster, the mentor advises the protagonist to retrieve a precious item from the creature, in order to save his friends. Despite the risks involved in venturing into enemy territory, the protagonist is left with no choice but to confront the danger. With a sense of determination, he returns to reality from the ethereal realm, and proceeds to the domain of firebenders. Here's a man, a firebender, who believed that there should be peace among all firebenders. He agrees to help Aang and brings Aang to his Avatar temple, where there were a lot of things from Avatar, but Aang was not able to understand what the most important thing about the monster would be. Before he picks up anything else, other firebenders come here to catch Aang. The good firebender says to Aang, "Do your work, and I will take care of them." As he valiantly defends against the firebenders, Aang harnesses his formidable Avatar powers to confront their leader. The firebender reveals that he possesses a valuable relic, the statue of the monster's mother. Aang collects the statue with the aim of surrendering it for the safety of his buddies, but is attacked by a bounty hunter sent by Zuko and his uncle. Aang, determined to prioritize the well-being of others, must negotiate for time to rescue his companions before returning to face his captors. In a poignant flashback, we witness the origins of Zuko's belief that compassion is a weakness, rooted in his father's teachings during wartime. In accordance with his plan, he would sacrifice a significant number of his own troops to create a diversion and defeat the enemy. However, Zuko disagreed with this approach, believing that the preservation of their people's lives should be prioritized. Despite questioning his father's strategy, Zuko was met with punishment. In the current moment, Zuko's father has deployed his army and demanded the surrender of the Avatar, threatening to kill Zuko if he does not comply. Reluctantly, Zuko hands over the Avatar to his father's soldiers. As the Avatar is taken to a temple and bound, a mysterious figure arrives to rescue him under the cover of night. Amidst the ensuing battle, Aang realizes that Zuko was the one who came to his aid, expressing admiration for his unexpected act of heroism. Despite our earlier hatred, I must respect the greatness of the book represented by your Avatar. Zuko's warning against underestimating you highlights your undeniable intelligence. Although our rivalry persists, I am compelled to apprehend you and bring you to my domain. As Zuko initiates an attack on Aang, the ensuing battle unfolds. Aang, in a moment of compassion, notes the visible wounds on Zuko's face and in his heart. Flashbacks reveal a tumultuous past between Zuko and his father, highlighting the conflict between strength and empathy. Despite Zuko's reluctance to harm his father, his resistance results in a terrible punishment, represented by the burning of his eye. As we return to the present, the complexity of our relationship is further illuminated. Aang graciously instructs Zuko to board a boat, assuring him that they will reunite after he saves his friends. In a moment of desperation, Zuko attempts to attack Aang with fire, only to find his efforts futile against the skilled bender. The scene transitions to a poignant flashback, revealing Zuko's painful past, and the burden placed upon him by his father, to seek out the Avatar as penance for his actions. Fast forward to the present, Aang returns to a devastated village, and crosses into another realm to restore a stolen statue, leading to the release of all captured humans. Upon reuniting with Katara and her brother, Aang witnesses the joy and relief of the villagers, as they are finally reunited with their loved ones. They eventually reach the Waterbenders region, where all the Waterbenders are thrilled to see the Avatar. Since they know the Firebenders are about to attack them because the Avatars are present, they will be able to win the conflict. In the Firebenders area, Zuko's sister fights with other individuals. She exercises her firebending powers, and her father informs her that she is too sluggish and ineffective. And she becomes irritated after hearing this, and she tells her friends that I know everything. This is my father's trap because he doesn't want me to be the queen. He wants his son Zuko to be the king, but I am more capable, and I will show it. In the realm of the Waterbenders, as the esteemed Waterbenders converse with Aang regarding wartime strategies, Aang humbly admits his youth and reliance on his friends for assistance. This admission incites anger in one of the Waterbenders, who questions the worth of an Avatar who leans on others for support. An Avatar, he argues, should possess the strength to confront any challenge alone. Aang feels discouraged by this critique. Meanwhile, Katara, a skilled firebender, discovers that the women of this community do not partake in warfare, but instead utilize their waterbending abilities to enhance the well-being of their people. Katara finds this custom to be unjust. During this period, Aang meets a fellow Avatar who teaches him an important lesson: do not repeat the same error as the previous Avatar. I have also dedicated myself to assisting individuals in the realm of spirits, yet I find that I am still not receiving the respect I deserve. The same may happen to you. It is imperative for you to distance yourself from your companions and concentrate on honing your skills as a waterbender. Katara's brother encounters a mysterious girl with snow-white hair, triggering a sense of déjà vu as he recalls meeting her in the spirit world in the guise of a fox. This enigmatic girl reveals that she was once gravely ill in her youth, prompting her father to beseech the soul of the moon for aid. Through the moon's intervention, she gained the ability to manipulate water and was bestowed a shard of the moon's soul, granting her the ability to traverse between the human world and the world of spirits. In the realm of firebenders, Zuko's sister impresses her father with her mastery of firebending, even demonstrating the ability to harness electricity. As her father grins with joy, we see the firebenders advance on the realm of the waterbenders, led by their general in an air balloon. Despite the waterbenders' mental preparedness for the impending conflict, their numbers are not enough to match the firebenders' formidable army. It is then that Katara suggests the inclusion of women in the war effort, showcasing her own exceptional waterbending skills in a duel with the chief to underscore her point. And she proves that women can also take part in this conflict. It is an attack. Aang, Katara and everyone else started to stop the attack. But Zuko's uncle tells his general that today is the full moon. Waterbenders derive their power from the moon, which is why they can't lose against you today. The general then informs Zuko's uncle that his objective isn't to defeat them, but rather to do something different. I know that such a moon happens once a year, and on a day when the moon is round and shining like this, the soul of the moon and the soul of the sea meet at the back of the waterfall. He declares that I will murder both souls. Zuko's uncle warns the general that this is a terrible idea. This can cause a significant loss in the realm of spirits as well as damage in this world. But the general replies that I don't care about this, so he travels to the lake to discover the soul of the moon. On the other hand, Zuko has come here to grab Aang, with whom Katara is now battling, and this time Katara has easily captured Zuko with her waterbending talent. At the same moment the general begins murdering the soul of the moon, Zuko's uncle informs him that the power of the soul of the moon is greater than an avatar, and he won't be able to kill it. The commanding officer harnesses the ethereal energy of the moon to defeat the waterbenders, causing the moon to ominously change its hue. With a mystical dagger in hand, he swiftly dispatches his foes, extinguishing their power along with the moon's darkened visage. As the firebenders rise in strength and lay waste to their surroundings, even the revered temple of the waterbenders crumbles before their might. This chilling spectacle mirrors the foreboding vision Aang witnessed, prompting him to reconsider his priorities. Quasi reminds him to put his own needs before those of others. Rising to his full potential, he harnesses his abilities and ventures into the vast expanse of the sea. There, he surrenders his soul to the waters, merging his essence with the elements to transform into a formidable, monstrous force. With a newfound power, he unleashes chaos upon the firebender ships, catching the attention of Zuko. As they fight, the firebender general becomes enraged by Zuko's fortitude. In a fierce showdown, Zuko emerges victorious, prompting the defeated general to question the true intentions of Zuko's father. It becomes clear that the manipulative nature of his father has hindered Zuko's potential for greatness, while empowering his sister. He desires to crown her as the true queen. And why must I be considered your adversary when this is also your father's decree? Following this poignant moment, we witness the young woman kept alive by the essence of the moon, which dwelled in the box within the realm of souls. Engaging in conversation with Katara's brother, she reveals how the moon once granted her a fragment of its soul, bestowing her with life. Now, the moon calls upon her, prompting her to relinquish her soul to the sea and the moon, causing the celestial body to once again illuminate the night sky. Despite everything appearing to be restored, Aang remains trapped in a monstrous form. Because of the damage to this part of the waterbender, he was still upset when Katara informed him. Aang, you are really excellent. You are our friend. We are your family. We are not making you weak, but we are your power. Don't waste yourself, the people here need you. After hearing all of this, Aang's anger subsides, and he emerges from the water in the form of a very powerful avatar. However, even when he emerges, he is sad because he believes that all the destruction here happened because of him. His companions tell him that he did not destroy it, but the firebenders did. He has saved the lives of many people here and saved the world from great danger. Aang replies that now I will forget about the past and focus on the road ahead. Katara was going to aid him by teaching him water and air bending. The scene is cut, and we see Zuko and his uncle, who still don't know what to do because their own father and brother tricked them. On the other hand, Zuko's dad, who hears the news that, despite destroying many regions of the waterbenders, the firebenders have lost to them, is not unexpectedly unhappy to hear this news and tells their people that this was simply their deception. He never wanted to damage the land of the waterbenders. He only wanted the avatars to focus their attention on rescuing the waterbenders' territory. From behind, they had taken the territory of the earthbenders. That is also via his daughter. His people question him about what will happen to Zuko. Zuko's father says nothing. Sometimes, we have to sacrifice such vulnerable individuals for enormous things. After seizing the space of the earthbenders, Zuko's sister was quite thrilled. And at the end of the narrative, we witness Zuko's father informing his companions that he is now about to travel over the earth, which will strengthen his powers even more. And this story narrative concludes here. What are your thoughts on this film? guys? Tell me in the comments section below. Furthermore, if you enjoy my videos, please subscribe and like them. See you soon in the next video. Take care, and bye now.